Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app from the Google Play Store or from the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot Media. At least one member of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTU, has broken ranks with the group in the wake of it signing a new 4-year wage deal with the government. The Union of Schools, Agricultural and Allied Workers, USAAW, says it will not sign a wage agreement with the Finance Ministry because it is still not pleased with the current offer. The JCTU signed the wage and fringe benefits agreement on Tuesday. General Secretary of USAAW, Keith Cumry, told the TVJ News that, as it is now, his members will not benefit from the government's offer. Reactions continue to come in following the government's indication yesterday that it will be cutting expenditure in the upcoming fiscal year. Members of the private sector say the reduction has not come as a surprise. Total expenditure in the 2018-19 fiscal year is projected at a little less than $774 billion. That's $23 billion lower than anticipated spending through to the end of March. Jamaica Employers Federation President David Wan believes the government is moving in the right direction as far as expenditure is concerned.
They are in line with what many people expected, and as a matter of fact, it's a little drop from the total that will be spent this year that was declared at the supplementary budget. But the two elements which are quite encouraging. For the first time, I think they've put together 3 years of expenditure plans as opposed to the usual 1 year at a time. Which I think is good because it shows a path, it shows some sort of projection more than just the short term. And in addition, it's earlier. I think last year was a little early also, but I think this one is even earlier. And I think it allows for debate, it allows for discussion.
Meanwhile, President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Howard Mitchell, also had positive comments about the government's budget.
Congratulate the successive administrations for reducing our debt load to 37 cents in the dollar. I can remember not so long ago when it was 52. So that is a real plus. Okay, I'm not sure, but my understanding is that tourism has gotten the biggest slice of an increase, followed by security, and that justice has actually taken a reduction. I'm a little concerned about that.
The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, is expected to rack up a big financial loss of $7 billion for the 2018-2019 financial year, which begins on April 1. The increase is expected to stem from a more than $1 billion increase in its fuel bill, combined with higher repair and maintenance expenses, as well as toll charges. Currently, its loss in this financial year is estimated at $3.16 billion. The bus company's total income, which comprises mainly of fares and charters, is expected to increase by $237 million to $5.32 billion. However, it will be hit with a $2.7 billion increase in expenses during the 12-month period. The biggest hit will come from fuel, which is projected to move from $2.5 billion in the last financial year to $3.6 billion. The JUTC will also fork out $417 million for toll charges, up from $317 million during the current fiscal year. Repairs and maintenance of its buses and depots will move from $1.5 billion to just over $2 billion. And the National Water Commission, NWC, is also expected to record more financial losses in the next financial year. A report tabled yesterday in the House of Representatives shows that the NWC is projected to rack up a $1.85 billion loss in the 2018-19 fiscal year. Its loss in the current fiscal year is estimated at $1.35 billion. Meanwhile, the water company says it will be undertaking an extensive emergency efficiency management program over the next 3 years. This will include establishing renewable energy systems for 10 of the highest energy consuming facilities. The report said that the NWC will also reduce electricity consumption by replacing inefficient pumping equipment. There is yet another cry to the government to move squatters from marginal lands, as it is believed that squatting continues to burden the economy by pushing up debt. At a recently held community consultation meeting with Southwest St. Andrew Member of Parliament, Dr. Andrea Brown-Burke, mention was made of a new housing project in Majestic Gardens, which is believed to be the start of a solution. However, Professor Winston Davidson, who was also at the meeting, believes that if the community is to be developed, the government needs to move the squatters off marginal lands, as squatting contributes to the country's debt problem. And we do apologize for the technical difficulty with the audio there. Dr. Brown-Burke highlighted that the issue of violence is another concern in the constituency, but says efforts are also being made in that regard. Emotions ran high at a Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation KSAMC council meeting this week after a suggestion was made to increase fees associated with hosting entertainment events. Some councillors were livid, saying the act needed to be amended before the fees could be increased. Others argued that increasing the fees will affect entrepreneurs. The details in this report.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, says they lose approximately 12% in earnings from entertainment events that happen under the radar. To tap into this lost revenue reduce, Councillor for the Havendale Division, Vernon MacLeod, requested of the mayor that the entertainment regulation be amended to include an increase in fees.
Numerous events are being held without the payment of a prescribed fees, and this results in a loss of revenue to the council. The lack of compliance with the conditions of approval is one of the issues that we have. Again, weak enforcement by our own self, because we don't have the capacity to enforce the conditions. So that needs to be strengthened. So some weaknesses there on our part.
But the request by the councillor was met with an uproar of disapproval by other councillors.
If you would just learn, it might be a little bit above your pay grade, but learn, please.
In order for us to capture those persons, we need to put something in the resolution that will speak to that, so that at least we can capture some of those monies. Because if we're going to increase now without fixing the problem, all that's going to happen here is that we're going to lose more millions.
I must say I'm a little bit disappointed in how we have gone about it.
Councillor for the Maxfield Park Division, Dennis Gordon, said he agrees that the act needs to be amended, but says the increase will be a deterrent to entrepreneurs.
88% of your revenue collected today comes from the small entrepreneurs. And those of you who love to talk about prosperity, this is a true sense where prosperity is pressured poor people.
I've searched through the whole document and I don't see anything, any amendment here that relate to enforcement. And you speak clearly whenever you have the chance to say that we need to plug the hole because there are entertainers who are falling under the thing, who do not pay anything at all. And there are many, many millions that we are losing.
The KSAMC will be looking over the act and discussing it further before coming to a final decision. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
It's time now for our Fact or Fiction feature. Fact or fiction, the land on which the National Heroes Park is situated was formerly a center for horse racing. Find out the answer at the end of the sports segment of the Midday News. We go now to news overseas. In the United States, the fate of hundreds of thousands of DACA recipients could rest with moderate lawmakers in the Senate. This after discussions hit a snub on Thursday.
The debate over immigration reform and what to do about millions of young undocumented immigrants back at square one.
It's been a disappointing week.
A much-anticipated bipartisan Senate proposal failed to get the 60 votes necessary Thursday.
The motion is not agreed to.
The bill would have paired a pathway to citizenship for nearly 2 million undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children with $25 billion in border security. It was one of 4 amendments that suffered the same fate. One of those was backed by the White House, a 4-pillar solution that included cuts to family-based migration and would have ended the diversity lottery program. But even if the bipartisan bill had passed, it would have been dead by the time it reached President Trump's desk. Trump called the bill a total catastrophe, tweeting that voting for this amendment would be a vote against law enforcement and a vote for open borders. Senators on both sides of the aisle shared frustrations.
This is a decision the Senate is going to regret.
The immigration demagogues win again on the left and the right.
What happens next? There's no clear answer, but there are signs of hope in the halls of Congress that a deal could still be worked out.
I think we shouldn't leave town without taking back up several of these amendments and reconsidering them.
The only way I see a solution is for the president to grab the reins back and lead himself and get Democrats and Republicans in a room focusing on strong border security and a fair solution for DACA.
And we go now to sports, as the original scoreline remained as Tivoli Gardens and Harbour View completed their aborted Red Stripe Premier League fixture from February 7 on Thursday. Last Wednesday's original fixture was called off by the match officials after spectators threw bottles on the field. Karen Madden was at the compound.
Tivoli Gardens completed the 22 minutes with the 9 players that were on the pitch after Jermaine Teddy Johnson and Captain Ramin Breckenridge were ejected during the earlier 68 minutes of play. The game was completed without spectators after the crowd trouble led to the referee calling off the game last Wednesday, with Harbourview leading 2-0. Both teams appeared to be just going through the motions with barely any runs at their opponent's goal. Harbourview got a free kick towards the end of the game, which Evan Taylor executed with disinterest. At the other end, with time draining away, the usually prolific Elton Thompson failed to capitalize on a Harbourview error, which could have seen his team pulling one back. Harbourview's head coach, Ricardo Bibi Gardner, felt it was a good stroll for his team.
Well, I think it was a good opportunity for us to put what we did in practice into practice. We would love a little bit more time to do that, but it's great to go out there and see off the job, and it's good to get another 3 points on the board today.
But for head coach at Tivoli, Omar Edwards, they were always at a disadvantage.
And we know that it would have been an uphill task to get back. So what we have asked them to do is to maintain a good defensive team shape and organisation and play on the counter. You know, and with a little bit more luck, with 22 minutes to play, we have created one opportunity that we should have at least capitalized on. But nonetheless, for the last 22 minutes, I think we are satisfied with the performance.
And both coaches were disappointed the game was completed without their fan base.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the fans, I think the fans bring a lot of enthusiasm to the game. And it's always a difficult encounter whenever you have no one watching the game. I mean, the game of football is also based on the atmosphere of the fans and to bring the whole energy into the teams at times.
It is always difficult to play without our spectators. They have been very lively, they have been very vibrant right throughout the season. You know, and not having them this afternoon was a negative for us, you know, because they are the 12 persons behind the team.
Tivoli travel to Sandals while Harbourview hosts Humberline when the league continues on Sunday. Karen Madden, TVJ Sports.
And finally this afternoon, the answer to our Fact or Fiction feature. We asked, fact or fiction? The land on which the National Heroes Park is situated was formerly a center for horse racing. Well, it's a fact. For 101 years, the land was the center for horse racing in Jamaica. It also held other sporting activities such as cricket and cycle racing. In 1818, the Kingston Council purchased the property for £985 and 10 shillings. It was part of a property called Montgomery Pen. It was later known as the Kingston Racecourse because of the dominant activity and remained so until 1953. The site was officially renamed the National Heroes Park in 1973. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.